that ever happened to you that made you think that God was real? And I'm not talking about believing in some kind of universal energy.
My step stool collapsed. I fell, I hit my head on the stove, and I lay paralyzed on the floor. It was the weirdest, freakiest accident that ever happened to me. Have I ever told you this story? Well, here I'm going to tell you right now. So, fast forward, well, backtrack to 6 months prior to my accident. My late husband, Hector, he got diagnosed with 5 years to live. And it was very devastating to us. We didn't know what to do. So basically, he became disabled and he stayed at home while I still continued with my family business as a commercial cleaning company. Well, now fast forward to 6 months later, the day of my accident, he wanted to come to work with me that day. And I was like, no, he looked really, really sick that day. And I told him, no, stay home, rest, and I'll go and I'll just check on these apartments. He says, no, I want to go. He insisted on going with me. And thank God he did, because we go into the apartment. He goes on his normal little routine because he likes to check the windowsills and mini blinds and all that. So I go straight to the kitchen where I check cabinets and, I look in the stove and make sure everything is done, right? Well, I take the step stool and I put it in front of the stove and I climb up on it. It's only like a 2-ring step stool. I climb on the step stool, and as I reach to open the cabinet, boom, boom. It happened that quickly. The step stool collapsed. I hit my head on the stove and I'm on the floor. Apparently, I knocked myself unconscious. When I came to, I could hear him from a distance, like he sounded like he was way away, like in the distance. And he was like, no, oh my God. And I heard him screaming. And I'm like, and as I'm coming to more and more and more, I realized I'm on the floor. Oh my God. And it felt so weird. It felt like my neck and my head was detached from my body. And I was like, okay, something's wrong. And he was like, babe, oh my God. And I remember saying, don't touch me, call an ambulance. Ambulance came, they flipped me over. And that's when the pain hit me on my arms. My arms were so inflamed with pain that the air would touch me. And I was like screaming. So we get in the ambulance, we beeline it to the hospital. And we're stopping at every light. So at this point, Hector thinks that I'm dead because they're like taking their time getting to the hospital. And so by the time we get to the hospital, and I'm telling these guys, like, look, why are y'all going so slow? And I'm crying. And they're like, we're going to get there, ma'am. We're going to get there. But apparently they didn't realize how serious this injury that I just had was. So we get in the hospital. Hector's like losing his mind. He's calling everybody. Constance had an accident. So friends are running up to the hospital. My brother, everybody, my family. And the doctor is talking to me and asking me questions. And I'm telling him, my arms are inflamed, but I can't feel my body. So the doctor runs and gives me a CT scan. So CT scan comes out. Miss Serrano, you're fine. I'm fine. What? Yeah, the CT scan didn't show anything. And I'm like, no, it's impossible. I can't walk. I can't move. Next thing you know, an hour passes and he's giving me my discharge papers like he's kicking me out of the hospital. That's when everybody loses it. Hector started cussing. My friends started cussing. Everybody is losing it out in the reception area, waiting room, whatever. And all of a sudden, while they're all having, this big brawl, next thing you know, they're saying, we're going to call the police and they're going to throw us out of the hospital. Well, the police walks past my curtain and I'm like, oh my God, they're about to kick us out. So I immediately was like, oh God. I just started praying and praying and praying. 2 seconds later, this man comes to my curtain, where the curtain is. What's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know who this man is, but He didn't have no medical attire on, nothing. He goes, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "They're about to throw me at the hospital." And he comes closer. He says, "Do you mind if I, touch your?" You can. He said. He starts touching me, like on my feet, on my leg. "Do you feel this?" I said, "No, I don't feel anything." But when he touched my arm, I screamed. I was like, "Oh my God!" He said, "I'll be right back." He made a phone call. He called Dr. Todd Lassner. Dr. Lassner had just now at this point, it's 2 a.m. And Dr. Lassner, he basically just got through with surgery and just got home and laid his head on the pillow. Well, when Dr. Lassner came up to that hospital, the whole floor just went, they got quiet. The doctor who basically was trying to kick us out, his eyes was like this. Dr. Lassner said, "Miss Serrano, what's wrong with you?" And I told him, and I was crying. He says, "Did you guys put her through an MRI?" No, doctor. They didn't put me through an MRI. He says, "Miss Serrano, this is going to be very difficult for you. Have you ever had an MRI?" I said, "No." He said, "I'm going to have, you got to be very still for 45 minutes. And he explained to me, oh my God, it was the most horrendous thing I've ever been through because my arms were inflamed with pain. I came out of that MRI and that doctor cussed the whole floor out. He was like, "She effing broke her neck, you effing idiots." And everybody was like, just scared. And the man that came to see me, I didn't tell you this part. When he was standing in the door, I saw a silhouette around him, like a light. And it was like something was behind him. I know those were my guardian angels because they directed him to my room. He was laying on the couch at 12 midnight and he jumped up and said, "Oh, I forgot to give my colleague a book." He said he usually doesn't come through the emergency room, but that night he came through the emergency room. Okay. He came and saw the commotion and was like, "What is going on in here?" And that's when he asked me. And that's when he made a phone call to that doctor who saved my life. The doctor looked over me when he finished cussing everybody out. He said, "Now, Miss Serrano, what I'm about to tell you is not going to be easy. I can't promise you your life. I cannot promise you. You're so inflamed in your C2 through your C7 is compressed into your spinal cord. I need to do surgery to decompress it off your spinal cord, and then I need to put cadaver bones or your bones or something in between the C3, 4, and 5 because it became bone on bone on bone." That's where I was getting all the pain from. Oh my God, this doctor went in. He said, "Now I'm tired. I need to get some sleep, but I'm going to put you on some really good medication. I'm going to put you in ICU, and in the morning, I'm going to work on you, Miss Serrano. I'm going to do my best to save your life." Oh my God, the next morning, I had that surgery. 10 hours later, when I opened my eyes, I said, "Is this heaven?" Because it was so bright in the room. No, I survived, and that doctor saved my life. So, guardian angels, they've been my friends ever since that day. And I have been relying on them and God, because those are God's messengers, ever since that day. And the reason I'm telling you this is because God is real. His angels are real. We have experienced guardian angels in directing us to each other. And that's when I met my guardian angels. So, what do you think about that?
That's a hell of a story.
And I am here today because of them. And Dr. Todd Lassner, one of the best spinal doctors in the whole world. He saved my life.
So he basically didn't even have a reason to be there. But the book that he forgot to give to a colleague was the catalyst for him to get up out of bed, go run and give it to
cut through.
But he decided to take a shortcut.
Took a shortcut
through the ER.
Yep.
And he heard the commotion, and that's when he asked you.
Yep. So, guardian angels. I'm gonna write a book about this.
That's incredible.
Bye, guys.
Morning, everybody. Testimony time. I literally met a guardian angel. This is from a while ago when cell phones were first starting to come out. I did not own a cell phone at the time, and I had this class that I was taking for college, and I was driving on my way home in this incredibly bad snowstorm. So I am in the left lane on the expressway, driving super, super slow. These two semis were to the right of me in the other two lanes, and they were going so fast. All of a sudden, I spun out before them. My entire life flashed before my eyes, and I thought, this is it. This is it. I said, God, I love you so much. Make sure my family knows that I love them. I know this is my time. And then all of a sudden, I landed in a ditch. What can I say? It wasn't my time. And then soon after, as I was stranded there, these two grown men stopped and tried to help push my car out of the ditch. They couldn't do it. They could not do it. They had no luck. They said to me, I'm sorry we could not help you. Good luck. Be safe. And then I was sitting there for a while, just by myself, stranded. And all of a sudden, this little old lady pulls over. She gets out of the car. She is radiating with light. She says nothing to me. She gets in my car all of a sudden. She's like, hey, can I take your keys? She gets into my car, and she just drove my car out of the ditch. How is that possible? It is not possible without God. God is the one who gave her the strength to do it. He sent me an angel. Literally, he sent me a guardian angel. That made me think, I do have a purpose on this earth. That was before I lost my faith in Christianity and came back. So the whole way home, I was sobbing and thanking God for sparing my life. He can do that for anybody. He sends his angels to protect us. He sends his angels to hold us up so we will not strike our foot against a stone. Anything is possible with God. That was my first encounter with a guardian angel. I have a second one as well, where I do have two witnesses, my husband and my best friend at the time. That's going to be for another day. I just hope this video encouraged somebody. Please just keep on walking the walk with Jesus. Keep your faith strong. Keep on going. Keep on persevering. And stay connected to Jesus. Make sure you're talking to him every day, reading your Bible every day. And he just loves you so much. I just want you to know that. If you do not know Jesus Christ, please get to know him. Just start talking to him. He listens. He listens to the prayers of the righteous. He truly does. Sorry, it was hard for me to cry It's hard for me not to cry during this video. I hope you all have a blessed day. Stay in God's presence, stay in the Spirit, and know that Jesus loves you. Shalom, everyone. See you next time. Peace.
All right, y'all. So I got a few minutes. I was asked to do a video on guardian angels, the good guys. Okay. So I know that the other videos freak y'all out. So here you go. I really truly believe that this man was heaven sent. Excuse me. So about 5, almost 6 years ago, I was working in Chelsea, Michigan. And when I was driving to my shift, it was icy out. It was wintertime. And you know how impatient people are. I was probably going about 25 miles per hour. It was pretty icy out, so I wanted to be careful. And there was this car behind me just tailing me, and I wouldn't go faster. So I guess they got impatient. They went around, and then they fishtailed, and they hit me, and I spun out and crashed off to the side of the road, to the side of the freeway. And so when that happened, I don't remember losing consciousness. I just sat there. I think I was in shock. I just sat there, and nobody came to check on me. I wasn't down there too long, but it was long because I remember being really cold. My glass was busted out of my windows. I do remember that. But this man out of nowhere, he just was jumping down into where my car was. And so when he got down there, he was like, "Hey, I'm Addison. I'm here to help you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, good. He saw me, he saw my car crash." And so I'm like, "Addison, like Grey's Anatomy?" And he was like, "Yeah, just like Grey's Anatomy." I was like, "Oh, okay." And mind you, I can't see. I forgot to mention that my glasses flew off. I never found my glasses. So I have astigmatism. I can't see without them, honey. And it was nighttime. So my glasses flew off and I can't see, but I do remember that this man, he had piercing blue eyes. His eyes were so blue. I can see when people are up close to me. And he was pretty close because he was, right here. He unhooked my seatbelt. And he was like, "I need you to just stay calm. You just stay here and help is on the way." And when the ambulance got there, they came down there and they got me. They loaded me up in the back of the ambulance. And I was like, "I want to thank Addison." And they were like, "Who?" I was like, "The man that helped me. He was the one that was helping me before you guys got here." They were like, "There was nobody here. Somebody called and said that they saw a car fly off the side of the freeway." I was like, "No, Addison was down there. And I know he was, okay? I felt him touch my arm and he unhooked my seatbelt." They're like, "There was nobody down there." They're like, "Did you hit your head?" Like, they were concerned. "Did you hit your head?" I was like, "No." So I kept searching in Facebook, Addison, and I put in parentheses, Chelsea, Michigan, and nothing came up. No men named Addison came up for me. I would only see women named Addison. And then I Google searched them. I True People searched them, even though I really didn't know I didn't know his last name. I don't know his last name. But I True People searched this man, and he did not come up. And apparently nobody saw him when they came and got me and put me in the back of the ambulance. And by the way, the police gave me a ticket. They gave me the ticket because I was the one left on the scene. And they gave me the ticket in the back of the ambulance. Ain't that something?
When I was 20 years old, I met my guardian angel. At the time, I was going through a breakup. It was a really, really messy breakup. He was very abusive, mentally, physically, emotionally. I was with a friend of mine. They had been helping me move my stuff out that day. I was going back to my mom's house. Very, very emotional. Even going back to my mom's house itself was emotional. We don't really have the best relationship. Things have just been rough in my life in general with my family. I left the house as soon as I could. So going back was already emotional. So my best friend went inside to get something in the gas station. I was just sitting in the parking lot and I'm crying. Just sitting there crying, and I just happened to look over, and when I look over, there's a lady standing at my window, and she's an older lady, and she's motioning for me to roll the window down. So I roll the window down, and she grabs my hands and she asks, could she pray with me? And I'm just thinking, she sees me crying, she knows, and I have a good relationship with the Lord, so I'm like, he must have sent her, so let's pray, like that'll make me feel better. So she held my hand and she prayed with me. After praying, she she really started to say other things. I mean, like, she touched on things that, like, in my life that I was going through, like, family wise, and how I was feeling inside, and just some of the things that, like, I had prayed and, you know, asked God, like, you know, answers for understanding, just for, or just to help cope, or just to help, you know, accept it for what it was. And this lady said these things, and there was no way she could have known these things. I didn't know this lady. It was just this random lady in the gas station. So she's telling me about these things, and she's telling me that it's going to be okay, and that God's with me. He's always been with me, that I'm not alone. And so, you know, she finishes up what she has to say, and then, you know, she tells me she's going to continue to pray for me, and, you know, just remember God's with me. And she walks away. Well, my best friend gets back in the car, and I just proceed to tell him what was going on. And I'm like, yeah, this lady was just, and I look over, and I'm trying to show him the lady. She literally had just walked away, and she wasn't there. There was only one other car in the parking lot when we pulled up. There's a small little gas station, and the person at that pump was somebody completely different. I even looked in that car. I did not see this lady in that car. We went down the road a little bit. We even looked on the side of the road. I mean, I was determined to find this lady, because I'm like, she said these things, and I was blown away. And we never found her. I do believe that she was my guardian angel, and I do believe that she was sent to me by God. And I needed to hear it. It was a pick me up that I needed to hear. Has anybody else had anything similar to this? Any stories that you would like to share? Please leave them in the comments. I've seen a few here and there over the years on videos, and, you know, different, like, on YouTube and things like that, where people have met people, and they've disappeared and things of that sort. But I mean, just to really be able to tell you things about yourself that you don't share with anybody, that nobody can know, but this person can know that I do. I honestly believe that was my guardian angel.
Tell me, what's the creepiest experience you ever had in your life, and why you still think about them?
Okay, so this happened like 14 years ago. My oldest son was 5. Okay, so we go to Walmart. I had to get like a TV and some other little things for the house or whatnot. So we get done shopping, and we get to the checkout line. So the cashier is ringing up my stuff, and me and her start having small talk, and she just starts, like, out of nowhere pouring her heart out to me, telling me like some of her personal business about her kids. So basically she was saying, like, her ex-husband is trying to keep her kids from her. You know, she had some things that happened in the past, and she lost custody, and he's just making it really hard for her, you know, to see her kids or get them back. And she was just saying, like, you know, she was trying to keep this job and, you know, just show them that she can be stable so she can get her kids back. You know, so I was like, I'm praying for you and stuff like that. Mind you, it was close to Mother's Day. So I was like, I'm praying for you, and I hope everything works out for you. You know, just keep God first, you know, stuff like that. So she was like, thank you and all that stuff. And she was just like really fascinated with my son. And she was like, oh my God, you know, he's so cute and handsome. And, you know, I really wish I was around my kids during this time. You know, could you do me a favor? And, you know, when Mother's Day come, can you bring your son up here so I could see him? So I was like, you know, that was kind of weird, but I didn't think of it because of the moment. So I was like, you know, okay, cool. I said, you know what, I'll bring you a Mother's Day gift up here for Mother's Day, you know, just to kind of lift your spirits up or whatever. And she was like, oh my God, thank you. So that was that. So she finishes bringing up my stuff, and my total comes up to like $200 and something. And I'm like, what? Now, mind you, I had over at least $600 of stuff worth in my cart. And it was like $200 and something. And so she was looking at me, and she was like, Happy Mother's Day. And I was like, thank you, same to you. And so I got up out of there fast, because I know she ain't ring up something in that buggy. So I had to go. I ain't even give the people at the door time to look at my receipt. I had to go. And sure enough, when I looked at that receipt, she did not ring up that TV. But I was like, I guess Happy Mother's Day to me. So anyway, fast forward to Mother's Day. I did get the gift, and I got my son, and we went back to Walmart. So I'm looking for her or whatever. I didn't see her working. So I asked one of the employees. Her name was Christy. The girl's name was Christy. I said, is Christy working today? And the girl was looking at me like, Christy? I don't know no Christy. So I was like, okay. So I had saw one of the managers that I know, and I asked her. I described her to the manager and everything like that. And I said, is she working today, Christy? She was like, don't nobody named Christy work here. I was like, how? I said, she just checked me out last week. I said, you know, Christy. Described her. She looked at me like, I don't know who that is. Never. I said, did she get fired? Did she quit? Nobody works here by that name or has worked here by that name. Floored. I looked at my son looked at me, and I was like, oh my God. You just never know when you might be entertaining an angel. Sometimes the only thing a person needs is a listening ear. So be aware. It was crazy, but I think about that all the time. Never saw her again.
I had a guardian angel protection experience. I was about 20, and I was driving my little Eclipse, over to my work. It was about 9:30 in the morning. And as I'm getting on this on-ramp, I put my head down to mess with the radio for just a quick second. Something told me, look up. So I looked up, and right in front of me, there was a van, stopped to a halt, and it was only a second. If I didn't look up right at that moment, I would have slammed right into that van. And either way, this is gonna blow your mind, I still should have. But instead, I turned the wheel really hard, and I started spinning sideways towards the van. And as I'm spinning sideways towards the van, I look over, and all the oncoming traffic should be coming at me. But there was no vehicles right there in that little vicinity. And I turn again, and everything kind of slowed down for me. And now I'm turning and going around the van this way. And I'm looking at the driver, and I'm going slow motion around this driver. And I literally go all the way around the van, opposite way of traffic, but it stops right before I hit anything. I do a full 360, almost hit the median, nothing. Didn't hit anybody, dodged the van. There was no oncoming traffic right in that little vicinity. And I'm just like, and then a police officer comes walking up, leans into my window. What are you, James Bond? That was pretty cool, but I was so out of it. And all I know is I heard a voice say, look up. I know that day I was spared. Why? It's a good question. Life's a wonderful ride. Here's another story that I believe was a guardian angel. Several years ago, before my wife and I got married, we were stopped at a little riverbed before driving home from our entire trip. We were just having a chat, enjoying a little bit of time together. Beautiful day. A motorcycle comes driving up to us, and we're in the middle of a canyon road. This motorcycle comes up, and I see this lady with a cigarette in her hand. She comes up to the window, and she asks me, hey, can you spare some change? I have a very important appointment I have to get to. This gentleman decided to grab everything in his change box inside the vehicle and handed it to her with a smile on his face. And this girl on the motorcycle looked at him all up close, and he realized she had the bluest eyes he's ever seen. And she looked at him and said, thank you so much. God will bless you in time, and drove off on the motorcycle. He didn't think much of it. He just saw her eyes and he thought that was strange. And then 5-6 years go by. His wife and him are trying to have a child, and they weren't able to for at least 3 years, trying, nothing. To out of nowhere, this 5th, 6th year, they were able to get pregnant. And it was a huge blessing. They don't know how it happened. They were told that she couldn't. All of a sudden, she's pregnant. And so it was just a blessing to their family. And so he's sitting there reminiscing on how amazing this news is. He's eating lunch at a little cafeteria by his work. And all of a sudden he sees this older man and this woman walk by them. And they're both looking right at him. And he noticed the blue eyes on the girl. And as she's walking by, she says, I told you God would bless you. And then she walks away. And he was so out of it at the moment, didn't know what to think, looks up, connects the dots, looks back over, and both of those two people that should have been only about 5-7 feet away were completely gone. There's a lot of cool things like that. And I think this world is definitely very supernatural, hence our name. And I believe that, we got to have some good with some of this scary, because it's not all scary. There's so much good out there.
There was moments where we didn't have food, and my wife tells me, if you don't come home with something, don't bother coming back. And I'm like, all right, bet. I go outside and I'm telling God, okay, Lord, you heard what she said. And I'm like, we cannot come home with nothing. So I need you to step in and do something. Go to the grocery store. I didn't have not a penny in my pocket, but I went out in faith. I went to the grocery store. There was nobody parked in the parking lot. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm here? Why? I know I don't got no money. I know I have no business being here. I might as well just take myself and just never come back. But something told me, just stay. Just wait on me. And when I got there, this old lady, I would say, I don't even know where she showed up, honestly. To this day, I still think that she was an angel. Knocked on my window. I get there and it's like, she says, I did grocery shopping and I had a shopping cart full of groceries, but I got everything I needed. But, I don't want to go back in there and return everything. So do you want it? And I was like, first I had to take a quick look. I was like, is nobody trying to mug me? Is this
Right.
this not a setup, And when I get there, she's like, no, whatever you want, take it. And I look, and everything that we like, I'm talking down to the box of cereal. And my son was just like maybe 3-4 months old, so there was even stuff for him. And I'm like, and then when I look back to thank the lady, gone. And at that moment, that's when I realized my faith and my trust in God is different. At that moment, I said, okay, God, my obedience in you is different.
Story time about my guardian angel. And if y'all don't believe in anything like that, you can go ahead and just scroll. But this is my experience. So I was in a really bad car accident and I was pulled out of my car by an angel, if you believe it or not. But let me go way back to kind of where it all happened. So my angel is a male. And I used to see this guy everywhere, no matter where I was at, he would low-key be there. I could be at a restaurant, I could be at school, wherever, he would be there. But he's an older man, maybe in his late 20s, early 30s. But yeah, I would see him everywhere. But if I would look away for just a second and look back, he was gone. I never told anybody about it until after my accident because I didn't want people to think I was crazy for seeing this guy everywhere, or I didn't want them to be like, oh my god, is somebody stalking you, or you know what I mean. I was the only one who saw him, by the way, because I would tell my friends, do you see this dude over here? And they're like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you crazy? Maybe. But anyway, the night I got into my car accident, I ended up flatlining. Everything just went completely black, and then all of a sudden someone pulls me out of the car and I woke up. I was still in the car though, if that makes sense, but like I said, I imagined somebody pulling me out. The EMTs were trying to break into the car to try to get me out, and at the time I just remember saying ow, 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 over and over because I was in a lot of pain. So they finally ended up to break the door open with the jaws of life, and they told me what hurts. And at the time I didn't know what the fuck hurt specifically because everything just fucking hurt. I was in a lot of pain. But I heard somebody say stomach, back, and arm. So I was like, okay, stomach, back, and arm. I told them. Then the next question they asked me, obviously, what arm? And at the time I didn't know, but I heard someone say left, so I said left. And at that point, I just blacked out. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. They were getting ready to do a CT scan. But before they did the CT scan, I blacked out again. And I woke up, and that's exactly what was wrong with me. My stomach, my back, and my left arm. So I ended up getting my liver cut in half, 4 bones broken in my spine, and my left humerus shattered. But I think it's so crazy that, that voice told me what the fuck, what was wrong with me, I remember I was on a lot of pain medication, so I was not coherent at all. But something I do remember is I ended up telling my mom about the angel, and she was all yeah, the guy that you said you used to see everywhere, right? And I was like, yeah, that's him. He pulled me out of my car and he operated on me, he was there with me. And she was like, wow, what was his name? Do you know his name? Where is he at? And I'm like, no, he never told me his name. But after that all happened, I don't see him anywhere anymore. And I just think that's so crazy. But let me know what you guys think about the story and if you have any ideas about it.
Okay, so I do have a few stories. I'm going to try to tell 2 real quickly. So this first story takes place before I beat my daddy ass. This was like leading up to his ass whooping. So we were staying in my grandma's house. It was like 8 of us, and 8 or 9 of us. I can't remember right now. We were standing there, and he wanted to sleep in the bedroom. It was a 2-bedroom townhouse. Me, my sister, and my mom usually we would sleep in the bedroom, but sometimes my mom would sleep in the den with him. So he would sleep on the couch. So this particular time, he was arguing with her like it was back to back. It was bad. He was arguing, starting shit with me, and I was on his ass. It was bad. So I used to work at Taco Bell as well, night shift. Used to get off between 1 and 4 o'clock in the morning. So I came in late. So once I came in, I was ready to, unwind, lay down, try to sleep because really don't sleep that good. So this particular night, he was being so mean to us, so mean to us. I remember I started praying. When I started praying, and somebody hurt me, God moves fast. Okay. So we're in the living room. So now he didn't bullied us about the bedroom, and I was willing to fight for it. My mama told me to let it go. So, cause I'm the type of person I'm gonna take it all the way there. Me and my mama are both Sagittarius, but I digress. Okay. So we go in the living room. I'm sleeping on the long couch. My mom is sleeping in a recliner chair. I remember I was so upset that night. I prayed all night till I fell asleep. I fell asleep crying. I used to sleep. I still kind of sleep like this, like with the cover up, kind of like over my head a little bit. I wake up in the middle of the night, and I felt the presence of something in that room, and I was scared. I was kind of afraid to pull my cover down. And then in the same instance as me being afraid, I also felt the need to not be afraid. And I was feeling like there's no need to be afraid. What am I scared of? And I could kind of like I could feel it like don't be afraid. I didn't hear it, but I could feel it. So I kind of peep over the cover. I see this bright light. Now the room was dark. The kitchen was like right behind us, so the kitchen light was on like over the stove. I seen this bright light coming from in front of me. When I tell you, I was scared to look up, but again, I didn't feel the need to be afraid. I see this tall figure. The head was basically touching the ceiling or like going through the ceiling. No, it was like at the top of the ceiling, like head, like this is ceiling, this the head. Tall, all white garment. Well, not like bright white, but kind of like an off white. Off white, looked like robes or something. Long to the floor. I couldn't see feet. I think I did see the hands, but I don't remember what color they were. I think they were white as well, like kind of like fair skin, like a white person. So I see this huge sword. The sword was like chrome, and it was wrapped in like these cords, like these white and silver cords. It was like it was like it was too much glory for me to look at. And when I did kind of look up, I didn't see the face, but I seen like the I can't explain it. I seen the face, but I didn't see the face. But the angel was just standing there, hand on sword, in front of me and my mama. Imagine waking up after you've been praying all night and crying because your dad is being a menace. And you wake up and you see this huge angel standing over you to protect you and your mama. Just imagine seeing something like that. When I seen that, I immediately went right back to sleep. When I woke up, when I really woke up, Angel was gone. To this day, if I am really upset about something and I start crying and praying and I go to sleep and I wake up, that same angel is standing right next to me. To the right of me, actually. It's been times where I've been sleeping and I'm waking up and I can feel something standing up off of my bed because it's been sitting down. I can feel it standing up. This other instance, I was leaving Taco Bell. I was leaving work. Again, I used to work night shift, so I used to get off at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. When I used to get off, I used to hit 100 going home on the freeway. Taco Bell was in Homewood. I stayed in Centerpoint. Sometimes I used to time myself. One time I got home in 7 minutes. The particular night I got home in 7 minutes, I hit like 110 on the freeway. And I had a Grand Prix. I had a black Grand Prix GT. I used to, man. Anyway, so I had a sunroof on this car. I remember driving. I'm the only one on the freeway. I remember driving and seeing like white flashes like going above me. And I got a sunroof and I used to keep it back so I can see. I don't know why. And I'm like, what is that? So I look up through the sunroof and I see something flying, but it's going fast. And I'm like, what is that? So I'm driving, I'm listening to my music. I'm all happy. I'm off work, going home. No cars are around me. I look to the right of me. I see another white flash, like it's flying alongside of my car. So I'm like, what is that? So I started talking out loud. I'm like, Lord, what is that? What is this? What is going on? And I heard, it's your angels. Get home safely. I was like, what? So I turned my music up louder and I proceeded to speed all the way home because I kind of got spooked a little bit. But at the same time, it was kind of like, I don't know. I couldn't see faces, but I could clearly see that it was angels flying with me on the way home. And it was like they were racing me. They were racing me home. And then when I got home, I didn't see anything. So those are the two that I can remember right now. It's been a few more. But yeah. But you said you seen your deceased cousin dressed in white with no wings and peaceful as well. Your cousin was more than likely in a better place. No questions asked.
What's the weirdest thing that ever happened to you that made you think that God was real? And I'm not talking about believing in some kind of universal energy. I'm talking.
Ooh, this is a good one. So stay with me. So when I was 15 years old, my mom was diagnosed with throat cancer, right? She did not get diagnosed with it until it was very advanced, very advanced. They ended up putting her in surgery, and the doctor said that the throat cancer was so bad that she was not only going to have to lose her voice box, she was also going to have to do chemotherapy and radiation. Okay, boom. So my oldest sister, Valerie, she called the Catholic church that was right up the street from our house, right? Because we were calling everybody. We were just trying to have our mom still be alive. Okay, so called the Catholic Church, like, okay, we're gonna send somebody out to come pray for y'all, da 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 da, right? So that same day, this man walks in. He's got on like the whole like preacher, is that what they're called? Priest. He has on like the whole priest habit, all of that jazz, right? Okay, so he prays with my mama and then he dips. Okay. Not even an hour later, the Catholic Church calls my sister and calls to the hospital because I'm staying with my mama in the room. And they're like, hey, so we're trying to get someone to come out there and pray with you guys, but we're running a little bit short staff and Father, he had to go do da 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 da. And I was like, well, he was just here. And I already told my sister, he was just here. So they were like, well, no, that can't be because I literally just talked to him like he literally just walked out. Okay, so I'm like, well, maybe it was some other guy. I don't know. Y'all, tell me why. Later that night, another priest shows up. And he's like, hey, sorry I couldn't get to you guys. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I got here before. And I'm like, but this ain't the same priest, right? So anyway, y'all, I was with my mama from the time she went to the ER to the time she got released 2 months later. I saw everything. I remember everything. I was having to help like clean her trach tube and everything because they did end up having to put a trach in her. But when they did their first surgery and the doctor went in and he cut away as much of the cancer as he could, he came back out and he was like, I got everything that I possibly could, but there's still some in there. She's definitely going to have the radiation. She's definitely going to have the chemo. I was able to save her voice box, but I'm not sure how long that will last. Y'all tell me why. 2 weeks later, when this woman went to the ENT doctor and they scoped her, no signs of cancer. When they sent her to the oncologist, they scoped her, no signs of cancer. I still, to this day, do not believe that first priest was actually a priest. I believe that man was an angel. And I've always thought that, and I've always said that. And that man gave us 19 more years with my mom. So I don't know how much of the Bible is real. I don't know how much of how much of that really came from God. But what I do know is that God sent his angel to intercede for my mom, and it gave us almost 20 more years of life with her. Okay, that's it, because I don't get sad on here like this. So, okay, I'm out. Bye.